Perfect.
Right.
Great. So before we get going, we'd like everyone to answer a question that's going to pop up on your screen round about now. The answers to these will be kept private, but it would just be really useful for us to know this information. So if you'd be able to answer what's popping up now, that would be really great. If you don't seem to be receiving any questions, then let us know in the chat.
Yeah, I just launched it. I don't have any answers yet. Okay, got a few people answering.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. So I'm just submitting a couple of people, so I'll just leave it two more minutes to do that. We have a few people saying they don't have questions. I believe Karina's popped that up. So if you don't get it for any reason, don't worry. If you have a question, please answer it.
Well, we can always ask for the chat to answer as well.
Yeah, we can come back to it at the end perhaps, but let's crack on for now. Thanks very much for that. So welcome everyone. This is our London in the Southeast of England webinar, talking about the campaign for the local electricity bills next phase. Next slide, Karina. And so we'd just love to introduce everyone to the campaign team. So Steve, Director and Founder, would you be able to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Steve Shaw, Director and Founder of Power People. Lovely to see you all this evening. My background is in parliamentary campaigning. I worked on a number of campaigns that saw laws through Parliament. Probably the most significant one was the Climate Change Act when I worked at Friends of the Earth.
Great, thank you very much, Steve. So I'm Heidi. I am the campaigns and fundraising officer at Power for People. So I mainly work on raising the money which allows us to deliver our activities, such as tonight's webinar, so that we can keep pushing to see the bill made law, which we're all really excited about. A note on funding: we are solely funded by the generous donations of individuals and charitable foundations who share in our aims. So you can find out who those foundations are on our website under the About tab right at the bottom. And you can also donate at any time should you wish to under the Take Action tab on our website. Rupert, our campaigns and engagement officer, is unfortunately not with us tonight. He's actually in the Lake District, which sounds very lovely. So Karina.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Oh, I'm sorry. Sounds like I'm echoing a bit. Apologies. Sorry, hopefully that's a bit better. Sorry about that. Sorry, my name is Karina. I'm the communications manager for Power for People. So if you've seen us on social media, that's usually me behind that. And I'm very excited to speak with you all today about the campaign and update you. And obviously, if you have any questions, like as Heidi said, please put them in the chat and we'll be happy to get to them hopefully at the end. And if not, we're hopefully going to get to, we'll be able to email you and answer any other questions you may have. So we have a quick audience poll, another one. This one is a bit easier, just multiple choice, so hopefully you get this, but it is, have you ever written to your MP about the local electricity bill? I'm just launching that now. Oh, seeing the results coming in. Thank you very much, everybody. So as you can see, the options are yes, I have written to my MP, no, or I haven't written about the local electricity bill, but I have written about something else. So thank you, everybody. That's very, very useful information for us. I'm going to end the poll there. And thank you very much. We also have, just to kind of give you a little break from us talking for a minute, we do have a quick animation to show you basically what's the campaign is, in case you are not, in case you haven't been around for that long here, or just let us know if you can hear everything okay.
Rena, it's a little quiet. Would you be able to turn it up, please?
Sure, of course.
Start from the beginning. We're not used to doing videos. We're so bear with us.
Yeah, sorry, I just definitely want to make sure everyone can hear.
Join us. Sign up to help the campaign.
Thank you, everybody. Just a reminder, if you don't mind just muting yourselves, that'd be great, just because we've got a lot to get through in such a short amount of time. We want to make sure we update you all completely. So yeah, that's kind of our campaign in 60 seconds. That was a lovely last year. And why you're here, you want a campaign update, and we would love to give it to you. So in terms of supporters for the local electricity bill, we now have 295 MPs who have pledged to support the bill, which is an amazing, amazing number. And so much of that has to do with you all and how much you've been supporting us and writing to your MP, speaking with your MP, sharing on social media. And we just really can't thank you enough. It's been absolutely wonderful to get all the responses from you all about how you've written to your MP and what they've said, and so really a lot of that has to do with you. So thank you very, very much for that. We also have about 100 councils that have pledged to support the bill and are on board. There's a list of those completely on our website as well under MPs and coalitions, and that has a list of about the 100 councils that are in support of the bill, which is obviously great. We'd like to get more. We're probably gonna do a more we're going to push a little bit more for more councils to get on board as well. So that's another thing. You can talk to your MP, you can write to your MP. But another thing is, and maybe it's not something that but you actually can write to your councillors as well, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more at the end as well. We have an amazing coalition behind us as well. All of kind of the major environmental groups, and some of the smaller ones. We have Greenpeace that have pledged their support. Friends of the Earth, absolutely amazing organizations that have such a huge reach across the UK, so it's and across the world really. So it's huge to be able to say that they support Power for People and that they're behind us as well. Again, I don't know if you know yet, but Keir Starmer has also said that he's in support of the local electricity bill, which is absolutely amazing. For us, we're hoping that means that more Labour MPs will follow. It'd be absolutely fabulous if we could get everyone on board and, make our way up to that 400 number of MPs that we want to support the bill. In terms of Parliament, we had a very, very lively debate in November of 2021. MPs from all 4 nations were at the debate, and it was very, very exciting to see. And they all spoke in favor of the bill to enable community energy and keep growing, which is fabulous. And we actually ended up, the Minister of State for Business, Energy and Clean Growth, Greg Hands, actually said he would meet with us, which was wonderful. We had Steve and a few other co-sponsors of the bill meet with Greg and some civil servants. And they managed to speak about kind of a little bit more of the nitty gritty of the bill, how it would work, how it would be implemented. And, it was great to see the minister really engaging with us. And it's such a big step. And again, that is such a, that is very much thanks to you all. So thank you very much for, making sure that your MP knows you support it. You want them to support it, because that gets us, that gets our foot through the door, that gets us there. And that that really gets, more people to look at Power for People and say, we want to help the local electricity bill be made law. So that's absolutely wonderful. We also have started the first community energy all-party parliamentary group. Helped to start that, which has been great. It's been David Johnston, the sponsor of the bill, and a few other MPs, and that's been great. So it's a way for, basically what it is, in case you aren't aware of what a all-party parliamentary group is. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's a way for us to promote the bill in Parliament going forward. And it helps us build support within the MPs. So maybe, if they support it, then there's, what are they going to do for the next step? How can we count on them to continue to back the bill and do a little bit more to get their colleagues involved? So that's basically where we've been the past 6 months or so. It's been absolutely, wonderful. And a lot of that, as I said, is thanks to you. So thank you very much, everybody, for supporting us and continuing to support us.
Hi, everyone. So a good point to talk about now is the government's current position on the bill. So really good thing is the government has acknowledged the positive effects of the local electricity bill, so including economic growth in communities, which we all know is extremely crucial to recovering from the pandemic and also to creating a healthy, sustainable country. And they do agree that there is a current cost barrier for those smaller energy generators looking to distribute their energy locally. And that is really fundamentally what the campaign is about. So lots of common ground between the campaign and the government, and that is a great starting point for a campaign like ours. But in the debate that Karina just mentioned, the Energy Minister, Greg Hands, did say that for now the government is not willing to implement the change we are seeking. But in order for the bill to become law, we ultimately do need to attain the government support. And I'll speak about that a little more in a bit, but we do need to work with the government and engage productively with their concerns. So I thought I'd quickly unpack a couple of these now. So one point that the government has made is that they believe the bill in its current form would create market distortions. And so one aspect that we would say to that is the energy market is currently very highly distorted, and that is in favour of large-scale energy companies. This distortion means that only companies operating at a national scale are able to viably supply electricity locally. And this is currently because of the very high setup and running costs involved in being a licensed energy supplier. Now, I apologise if this is kind of stuff that you've already read, but I wanted to cover a bit more of the nitty-gritty of the campaign for anyone who's not aware. And so what we are calling for is a level playing field. So the bill would do this by making the network costs and other related startup and running costs proportionate to the size of the operation. And then a second point that the government has suggested is that smaller energy suppliers that would enter the market would not be able to meet obligations such as consumer protections and would avoid system costs. And so firstly, let's acknowledge that some existing community energy groups already do some of the things that they would be required to do if they became local suppliers. For example, installing energy efficiency measures in the homes of vulnerable people. And in 2020 alone, and we're really excited about this fact, community energy organisations spent a total of £890,000 on energy efficiency upgrades, helping 45,000 people to reduce their energy bills and stay warm. And our research has found is if the bill is made law, investment in energy efficiency could grow into the several millions, helping millions of people. So we do accept that the bill can be improved, and that wanting to protect vulnerable customers is obviously a legitimate concern. The bill is currently very light on detail, and that is intentional. So the bill that became the Climate Change Act, which Steve worked on the campaign for, in its original form, it was only a couple of pages. It was a campaign tool. In its final form, it was hundreds of pages long. So yes, we intend to adjust these aspects as we progress and the bill develops. And we are currently working together with technical experts in the field to see what support smaller energy suppliers would need, but also to discuss ways to improve the bill. Actually, Steve and I, this weekend, we met with a group of London-based community energy groups. We were hoping to do it in person, but unfortunately, Steve got COVID. Luckily, he is better now. So we met with some local community groups on Saturday to discuss some of these issues and get their input. And we're really pleased about the direction that the bill is going in. And we will, of course, keep you updated with the government's evolving position. Can I get the next slide, Karina? So breaking up the speaking a bit more, hopefully the sound works. And we just wanted to share some of our supporters and why they back the bill.
Greenpeace backs the bill because clean community energy is essential for a fairer and greener future.
Smaller producers joining the market will make it possible to have local deals and increase our renewable energy provision locally.
I back the bill because climate change is the biggest challenge society faces. And it isn't just something that happens far away, we will feel the effects everywhere. And the good news is that we can all be involved in the solutions.
I back the bill because it's a double win.
We back the bill because it gives small communities, much like ours here in Ramsey, the opportunity to become our own energy supplier.
We need to be able to supply that energy locally to local people so that we get the best benefit from our natural resources.
I back and support the bill because I want to be able to buy my electricity from my local wind turbine. I can see the wind turbine from my bedroom window, and that's about as local as you can.
Greenpeace backs the
We hope you enjoyed that video. I love seeing kind of our supporters firsthand saying why they support the bill. And so we hope you enjoyed that. You can see a full video of that and many, many more supporters on our YouTube channel as well, which we will happily link to you.
Great, thanks very much. So next topic we wanted to discuss is our pathway to success. So this is going, hopefully, obviously we all still need to engage with our MPs and getting them to back and promote the bill, but our pathway to success. There are two major paths to success for the bill. This is a bit different to what I was speaking about before, talking a bit more about parliamentary process. Other grassroots campaigns like ours have passed bills like the Climate Change Act in similar ways to this. So the first way, having a House of Commons majority. So there are 650 MPs in Parliament. We currently have 295 supportive MPs, but our aim is to have at least 400 MPs in support of the bill. So an overwhelming majority of MPs becoming supportive puts pressure on the government to work with us to enact the bill as their own government bill. And so this could be as a standalone bill, or it could be part of a government energy bill, their own government energy bill. The second way would be getting the bill introduced as a ballot bill. And so some of you might remember when we tried to secure a ballot bill last year. So a parliamentary ballot happens at the start of a new parliamentary session. These are usually around May time. MPs put their name into the ballot, so kind of like a lottery, and 20 MPs are randomly drawn, and each MP can introduce a bill of their choice. The top 7 MPs who are drawn, those are actually the last 7 MPs drawn, have the greatest chance of their bill successfully progressing through Parliament and becoming law, as they're given the parliamentary time to be debated, which is really important. And so we will need to campaign for our bill to be picked up by one of those MPs. And so for those people who remember us trying to secure a ballot bill last year, you might think, well, were you unsuccessful last time? So is this the right direction to be going in to trying to secure a ballot bill again? And so what we would say to that is we weren't disheartened, and neither should you be. So the ballot is really a random roll of the dice, and not securing a ballot bill doesn't mean that the campaign's not effective and strong, because it is. And the number of supportive MPs shows that, and the wide-ranging coalition that we have. And we're also in a much stronger position than we were last year. We have 295 MPs knocking on the door of 300 MPs, which is great, nearly over half of all MPs. So keep your eyes peeled in May time for that. And yeah, please put any questions in the chat that you have regarding what I've just spoken about, and Steve can answer them at the end. Next slide, Karina.
Once again, we have another audience poll, if that's okay. Our question this time, have you ever met with your MP or a local councillor? So the options are, I've met with my MP, I've met with a councillor, I've met with both, or I've met with neither. Hopefully that poll has just popped up for you there. Oh, wow, wonderful to see how many people have engaged with both. That's wonderful. Okay. All right, I think we'll end it there. Thank you, everybody. Great, well, that's an absolutely wonderful result. So thank you, everybody, for that. And obviously, you know, if you have any questions about meeting with your MP or meeting with a councillor, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about that going forward, but also that is something that we absolutely can help you with if you just, you know, pop us an email at some point. So actions to take. I think the question we get most often from our supporters is, what can I do? You know, what is it that I can do to actually help the bill, you know, gain more support? And, you know, how can I get my MP involved, and how can I get them to actually support the bill? So the first thing is to write your MP. I know so many of you have done this, and we really, really appreciate it. And I know it can be, you know, a little bit frustrating at times, but writing to your MP, telling them what you want is the most important. Well, actually, I don't want to say that. They're all very important. Is one of the most important ways you can support Power for People and the local electricity bill. Whether you're an individual or you work with a local community energy group, whatever the case, writing to your MP is vital. You know, they always say that the pen is mightier than the sword, and I really, you know, we really truly believe that here. These grassroots actions start with people like us finding something we want to change and writing to our representatives and making sure they hear our voice, because we elected them. You know, they are working for us at the end of the day. As crazy as that sounds sometimes with everything going on, you know, writing to your MP, they want to know what you have to say, and they want to know what you care about. And even if 10 people write to their MP in one constituency, for example, you know, that's enough to say, wait a second, this is something I should maybe pay attention to. So writing to your MP is, you know, that's why we put that as the #1 action to take. We also ask that you sign up another person if you can, you know, share us on social media. You know, we're on all of this, you know, all the major social media accounts, you know, share what we're doing, share the petition that we have on our website, you know, ask another person to sign up for our regular email list so they can keep up with the campaign. #3 is write to your counselors. You know, similar to writing to your MP, it's very important because these people represent you. You know, that whether you voted for them or not, they're there to represent who you are and what you want to get done in your area. And so making sure that they know what you want with something like the local electricity bill, and that you believe in community energy and how much it is going to benefit all of us truly, you know, making sure that they understand and they know that is very, very helpful. And once again, we're happy to at any time help you draft an email to your MP or your counselor. We'll also help you with any responses you get from your MP or counselor. We can help you kind of break down each point they bring up to maybe say, well, you know, if they don't want to make a big commitment, which, you know, is a silly thing, but they should be able to. But we're happy to help you kind of break down what they say in their emails or in their letters, and make sure that you really understand, so that we can kind of, you know, reply back and say, you know, we will tell you why XYZ is incorrect and why, you know, the local electricity bill is going to work. And #4 of actions to take is meet with your MP. And we understand this has been very difficult the past few years. Thankfully, I mean, you know, things are opening up again a little bit more now. But regardless, we've done quite a lot of virtual visits with MPs, and we're happy to help you set this up. That's really one of the main focuses of why we're all here today is, you know, the next step is meeting with your MP. You know, writing an email and writing a letter and all of that is amazing. But meeting with your MP, really showing your face and showing them, this is what I care about. is so important to this bill, because they want to hear from you. And, you know, it's their job. They want to hear from you, and they want to know exactly what you want, because they're here to serve you. Which is really, again, why we want to hammer that home, that meeting with your MP, especially for the London and Southeast regions at the moment, is very, very important. And again, we are here to help you with that. That brings me to my next slide, which is a little bit more detail about meeting with your MP. Whether you are someone who doesn't know if they want to meet with, if you're unsure about it, or perhaps, you know, you would like to at least learn a little bit more information, please feel free to email us, maybe with your postcode, and we can send you a very, very helpful guide that we've put together over the past few weeks. It's very short, but it has information about the bill. It has information about your MP, as in whether they support, whether they don't support, if they're, you know, any special member of their party, etc. These are things that are, you know, really important to bring up, because depending on who they are, obviously, whether they support or whether they don't support, you know, that we can tailor the guide, the meeting with your MP guide to that. And we are very happy to help you every step of the way, whether that be scheduling an appointment, you know, bringing up, you know, what should I say? It's usually, these meetings are usually very short. They're usually only a few minutes, but that few minutes can really pack a punch. And we really, really hope that you take us up on this offer and, you know, decide to meet with your MP. Again, we'll help you schedule that appointment, get a few dates from them and from you to see what lines up. We're happy to attend a meeting with you and walk you through what, you know, the main points of what we're really trying to get across. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is, you know, you support us, and we love that. And we want to give you as many tools as possible to meet with your MP and really tell them that the local electricity bill is something that you support and you want them to support and take up potentially as a ballot bill if they do already support it. This is just an example of a meeting with your MP guide. It's a very short version of the document, but as you can see, it's very colorful. There's some pictures there. We have a picture of your MP. For this one, obviously the MP is Sir Desmond Swain. We obviously tell you whether they support the bill, and then kind of the next steps you need to engage with them. What else can you ask them? What is important that you want, you know, what's kind of the important points of the bill you want to mention to them? And as you can see at the top, the steps, you know, whether you'd like to just go alone and speak to your MP or your counselor, or, you know, a group of people who would like to go. I mean, the more the merrier, obviously, but whatever you're most comfortable with, we are here to help you. We are here to help you prepare for the meeting. We're here to go to the meeting with you, help it run smoothly, and liaise with your MP and yourself and make sure everything is ready. And we want to make this as simple as possible for everybody. So if you have any interest in meeting with your MP, which we really hope you do, please, please, please send us an email. We'll also follow up with you tomorrow, and we'll get you a guide as quickly as possible.
Fab. Thank you, Karina. I was just gonna, when you were speaking about that, I was thinking about a supporter that we recently helped meet with their MP. It was actually a local MP for Croydon Central, Sarah Jones, and got them prepared for the meeting and helped them to engage in a way that would hopefully be effective to getting that MP on board, and it was. So the MP came on board and agreed to promote the bill in Parliament. And I was actually checking the parliamentary website, as people who work in parliamentary bill campaigning do probably more than the average person. And Ms Jones has since submitted a parliamentary question to the Energy Minister, interrogating the government on their mechanisms to enable more community energy. And so what that really does is getting a parliamentary question down on the website and on record shows that we can see the government's current position on the bill, which is really helpful for us tailoring the campaign and our next steps. But also we can use it to interrogate the issues with their current approach to community energy, because as you should all probably be aware by now, with our campaign, we really believe that unlocking its huge potential could have a massive impact on communities across the UK, and also to the environment, which is extremely important. So yeah, I thought I would just share that and just say that it does work, and it's really something that can be quite empowering. I think maybe in the past I would have been a little bit apprehensive to meet with my MP had I not had tools and yeah, developed my understanding of how to do it properly. And really, when you give it a go, they're a person after all, it can go really well and it can be a very productive thing to do. So I think that's quite enough of me and Karina. I hope we've not completely chewed your ear off. And I think it's time for questions and any comments people have. So I'm going to have a look in the chat box for any questions that we have. And Steve, if you're ready to go with answering some, that would be great.
Yep.
So just give me a moment to.
I'm happy to, while you're asking Steve, I'm happy to kind of feed the questions to you, if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great.
Great.
So we have a question earlier on from Stephanie. Really keen to engage my council to try to push from the inside of the party, as community energy is listed as part of their climate emergency plan. I mean, that's a really great place to start, that you know that with your council. Steve, what would you suggest with probably engaging with your council?
Yeah, it's a good one. And there's a lot of councils all around the country that have passed some kind of climate emergency resolution. The reality is, though, a lot of those councils we know, understandably, you know, don't have quite the resource that they'd like. You know, the intention is strong, but the actual ability is not as good. Some are doing better than others, but what is really helpful with regards to this is it's a specific suggestion, and that's often what political leaders look for. Is, you know, well, give me the specific answer that's going to actually create a tangible, meaningful result, and I think it's why we get good traction with MPs as well. So you can ask your councillor to put down a motion to support the bill. And that works well. We've got a model motion and also a guide for councils on our website. We can pop the link in the chat box for you. So yeah, that's the thing to do. Alternatively, and this is another way councils have been supporting the bill, is you ask your councillor to ask the leader of the council to say that the council supports the bill. So this obviously works with councils that are controlled by a single political party. If your councillor is the leader of the council, like mine is here where I live in Finchley in North London, so Barnet Council, then you ask your leader directly, ask the leader directly and say, look, you know, it'd be really great if you could please say, support this. Any response you get, please show us, let us know, because we can help you. Because sometimes the things that are said are maybe sometimes they're good, sometimes councils engage well, but sometimes things are said are not quite right, so we can help you there. So please show us any replies you get.
Thanks, Steve. And just moving on right from that with councils, what would you suggest someone do if their council is already signed up, which is great, but what else can they do? That was a question from Mary after they're signed up.
Yeah, so if your council's already on board, fantastic. Ask them to ask the MPs covered by the council's area to write to them and say, look, we're council supporting this. You know, we hope you'll support this in Parliament. Put your name to it. Urge the minister to back it. So it's just another way, and this does really help. I know this from the discussions I have directly with MPs. They do pay attention when the local council is backing something and actively saying, oh, can you please raise this? So that's really helpful.
Great, thanks very much, Steve. A question more related to moving on from kind of parliamentary and councillor processes, but more to renewable energy, would the bill, this is a question from Dave, would the bill make a difference to the current crazy situation where someone could choose to only buy green, solar/wind electricity, but still get charged the same price as gas generated electricity? Is that something that you can speak on, Steve?
So it's, yes, I mean, that is the intention here, is to make benefits, to give local people benefits where they become the customer of the new local energy cooperative, for example, or community energy company. So again, so for me, there might be a North, if we get the bill through and it sets the process up. I'm living in North London. There might be a North London community energy company, and I become a customer, and then overall my electricity would be cheaper. Now, why would they be able to do that? Well, one thing that isn't recognized at all in the way the whole system and market works is what's called thermal losses. So basically, the further electricity travels down the wires, the more that's lost as heat. We all learned that at GCSE physics, I suppose. But what we want to do is create a situation that recognizes that it's more efficient to have local generation being used locally. And this would help lead to that. And so then you would get the actual savings ultimately on price. And we know from the studies we've seen and from research we've done that those savings are possible. But again, only if we change the rules.
Great, thanks very much, Steve. Another question, this one's from Simon. So, hi, my MP is David Johnston, who is an active supporter of the bill. Yes, he is the lead co-sponsor of the bill. David's been a great champion of the bill, which we're really pleased about. Is it still worth writing to him?
I replied directly in the chat to this, but I will answer generally so you can all know. So if your MP supports the bill, that's great, but they can do more, and we need them to do more. It's not enough. It's great an MP putting the name to it, but it's not enough really. So ask them to lobby the minister. So ask them to write to the minister saying, Minister, I want the government to support this bill, because that's ultimately what MPs are, what the supportive MPs are helpful for doing. I mean, not just that, but that's helpful. So yes, it's important, and the fact that they hear from you, it means the chance that they'll be more active. Heidi gave that great example earlier of an MP where, because people visited her, she then thought, okay, I'll do a bit more here, and she put down that parliamentary question. So it's not just about, okay, I ticked, my MP supporting, ticked off. Don't think of it that way. Obviously everyone's busy, and the more they can be drawn into this rather than something else, the better.
Great, thanks very much, Steve. And I can see, sorry if you've also answered this, Steve. I was busy chatting away to everyone, but we have a question from Dominic, and it says, what's the email specifically to do this? Now, Dominic, would you actually have a moment to be able to explain what you meant by that? It could be helpful to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking about actually approaching your local MP to not just send a letter to her, but actually to speak to her face-to-face in a face-to-face meeting. I mean, it might be via Zoom, but you know what I mean, rather than just sending her a letter on theyworkforyou.com. That's what you were talking about earlier, Steve.
Yeah, use their email, use their standard email that they'll have on their website or be on the parliamentary website. That's fine. That should work fine. They should respond to you, especially if you're asking to meet them, or Zoom or face to face. If they don't, let us know, please.
I meant at Power for People. What's the email address to kind of to follow up on this with you guys, in order to then speak to my MP?
Sorry,
you said we can work. You can work together with me or anyone else for the meeting, the face-to-face meeting with the MP. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Dominic. Yeah, and to be clear, obviously we will need to ask permission of others who we have contacts for. But it's gone well in the past, where we've matched people up together who are all local, the same constituency. So yeah, let us know. Yeah, get in touch.
Yeah, I think Karina actually just popped in the chat her email. Dominic, if you send Karina an email and then we can get you over a guide to meet with your MP that's specific to them and what specific points to raise. And then, as Steve said, we can, one thing that's been really great in the past, we actually had a big virtual meeting last year with three MPs up in Leeds. And it was actually organised by the local Labour branch party. And that was really effective. We had a big group come together. We had all the MPs on Zoom, and they all came on board. And out of that, we've got some real champions of the bill. So yeah, if you're interested, let us know, and then hopefully there'll be some other keen people in your area, and then we can, if they're also happy to share their details, we can get you in touch with them. So we have a question here from Peter. My MP is the Minister, Greg Hands. Oh, very good. So I've written to him, thank you, to support the bill. And I saw him on Parliament TV agree to meet up with others to hear solutions. Glad to hear you're also watching Parliament TV, Peter. We're not just very, very specific people who watch Parliament TV. So I guess, Steve, what do you think about how would you engage with Greg Hands if they're your MP?
Well, I mean, it would be so great if you could get a meeting with him and bring others. I cannot overemphasize how effective meeting an MP is. That example that Heidi gave in Leeds, one of the MPs was Hilary Benn, who's a very prominent Labour backbencher. You might have heard of him, and the effect it had on him, and the effort he now makes in Parliament is remarkable. And I think he's actually been instrumental in encouraging and helping get Keir Starmer to back it, which obviously means, you know, it's just huge. He also, by being present at debates on this, I can see the extra pressure that puts on the minister. So, you know, and that came out of a single meeting. It was a handful of constituents, probably about 10 or so, who met with him and two of the other Leeds Labour MPs. So, if it is possible, I would request, even if Greg Hands says he's too busy, which he might not do, but if he does, you know, the fact that he's receiving that request is actually helpful in itself. So yeah, I can't encourage it enough.
Great, thanks, Steve. So a question more again on the renewables side. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of who asked this question, so my apologies, but question about energy storage. Mentioning the vanadium flow battery being installed at the Energy Super Hub Oxford. This seems essential to small generators to be able to supply to the grid at a sensible price without being penalised, as its electricity supply is unreliable when the sun isn't shining. Does the campaign have a position on energy storage?
So we're not trying to directly promote energy storage, and the bill is agnostic on energy storage. You're absolutely right. Energy storage is, of course, very helpful because of the intermittency of renewables, and it's going to help community energy schemes that would want to become actual local suppliers. But the real block at the moment isn't technology. It is the market rules. There are hundreds of community schemes across the UK and they're great. But none of them can actually sell directly to us, to local customers. And that's because of these market rules that are largely unchanged since the 1990s, when the private market was established after privatization. So we need to change those rules, and then technology like the batteries, and I'm sure they'll become, well, it looks like they'll become even cheaper over time. And I mean, panels, solar panels as well become cheaper. So the technology is moving in the right direction, and we need to get the rules to catch up. That's why we're doing this.
Great, thank you, Steve. Sorry, I just muted you when I was trying to unmute myself. So that wasn't a statement on what you were saying. I quite agree. And that was Dave who asked that question. So thank you very much. So I can see in the chat here we have. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I think it's Lee or Lay. Would it be useful to share the video of this event with other residents and community groups? Yes, that would be really, really great. And thank you for suggesting that. What we're going to do is we will put a copy, we will create a copy of the webinar and we can send it to you. And then if you can actually send us an email, so Karina's actually put her email in the chat, yeah, we'd be really interested to hear about how we can get other residents and other community groups involved in your area, and distribute some of those guides, maybe organise a meeting with the MP, with some other constituents. So yeah, thank you very much. That's great to hear that you're interested in doing that. Right, I'm just having a look. Nicola, thank you. Excellent guidance. Thank you, Nicola. I will be meeting with Hammersmith and Fulham MP Andy Slaughter in March. That's really great. Andy Slaughter is my MP also, so I might be just down the road from you right now. That's really great. If you would like any guidance on, I mean, as we've already said, just drop Karina an email and we can get you over a guide. I know that Andy Slaughter is supportive, but yeah, there's more that he could do, such as asking him to pick the bill as ballot bill, and I will let Steve speak because that's
actually you said it, Heidi. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure. Yeah, you said it, but yeah. Do you want to say it again, just so it's very clear, please?
No, just Andy supports the bill, but more that he can do. And one thing is that we can ask him to pick the bill if he's drawn in the ballot. So in the ballot bill, but that will be in the guidance. So I don't want to go into too much of that now, but that's great to hear you're meeting with him. Looking forward to hearing about it. Any other questions? I'm just having a look in the chat. So Mary says, to reassure the government on the point of community energy not meeting obligations, there must be multiple examples of it meeting obligations from Share Energy members. Now, I don't particularly know much about that. Steve, do you have any point to make on that comment?
So this is getting a bit technical. So I'll be brief, do my best. So the big license suppliers, the utilities that we all currently go and buy our electricity from as customers, they have a series of obligations on them, all kinds of things. One, for example, is they have to help vulnerable customers who they have in their areas. They have certain requirements to insulate homes, or at least provide the service of insulation from homes who of customers they have. Of course, we still have a big problem with fuel poverty, but nevertheless, there are a series of these obligations. And the government are saying, well, how could a new local supplier that's a smaller company, how could they provide all these obligations? So we don't have an example yet where a local supplier does, because we don't have any local suppliers. We all go to these big national companies for our electricity. But it is certainly possible to get around this. There's various aspects of policy, energy and other policy, where you have offsetting, you pay money proportionally into a pot. The principle of proportionally paying for things is all over the place in terms of how markets are regulated and so on. The only thing I'll add to this is in recent weeks, I've been speaking with some of the top experts on the energy system, who are very keen to help us. I mean, they've always been keen, but they're now helping us very actively. People like Merlin Hyman, who is the chief executive of Regen, and Nigel Cornwall, who used to advise the government. He helped develop the feed-in tariff legislation, for example. So the leading UK experts are now very keen to help us solve these detailed problems, which is great. And of course, they're doing that because they can see the level of support in Parliament and the fact that the government are starting to engage with us. So it's great. All come about because of the efforts that yourselves and others have made.
Great, thanks, Steve. And so another question, we've got about 5 more minutes, so if anyone's got any burning questions, please do pop them in the chat and we'll try and come to them before we wrap up. But I can see here that Will has asked a question. I wrote to Tulip Sadiq, MP for Hampstead and Kilburn, and received a general response about energy prices. I know Karina's responded to that, but Will has asked, what can I do next? So Steve, do you have, I think that could be helpful for people to hear the answer to.
Quite simply, if you ask your MP any question, like, do you support the bill, or can you write to the energy minister about this, and then they don't reply and answer that question, well, I mean, it's a little unsatisfactory. It's not really acceptable, and I think you have every right, and you absolutely should write back again, and politely but persistently. Be polite and persistent. You'd be amazed how how effective that is. If anyone's seen the Shawshank Redemption, you know, it's true. Just keep persisting. The other thing as well, please share with us when you get replies, because we might be able to give you just a little tip, something to mention. And it's really helps us as well to see the correspondence.
Great. Thanks, Steve. And I've just seen Dominic make a point in here. Well, this is why I think face-to-face meetings with MPs might be better. Sending messages and e-petitions only gets you so far. Yeah, I really agree. That's a great point. And hopefully that message has kind of come across in this webinar. So thank you for reiterating it, Dominic. So I think we've addressed everyone's questions. So just to wrap things up, Steve, do you have any kind of final comments that you'd like to make?
I think I need to resign, and Will needs to replace me. That he actually answered the question better than me. But seriously, I'll just say it again. It's really exciting where we've got to now. Tomorrow I am meeting with civil servants in Whitehall on this. They have been they are meeting with me because the minister has felt the pressure from MPs in Parliament and has instructed them to do so. So we are making, this is progress, I can assure you. It's taken quite a while to get to this stage. So this is working, it's exciting, but we are not there yet. So your help will be invaluable. Great.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's been really great to speak this evening, and yeah, hopefully you've all got what you hope to get out of it. If you have any questions, then please do email us at our general email is info@powerforpeople.org.uk. But Karina has also put her email in the chat, karina.miller@powerforpeople.uk. powerforpeople.org.uk. God, I should know that by now, but it is nearly 8 o'clock, so you'll have to forgive me. And I think that's it. So yeah, again, thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, do drop us an email. We'd love to help you meet with your MP. And yeah, we're planning to do more webinars in the future. So yeah, we hope to see you again very soon. Have a great evening. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night.